A big win in week 2 for the Michigan State Spartans as they took down Boston College 38-14, a team that they actually lost to on the road last year 19-23. It was a big game for guys like Aiden Childs, who played really well despite the one turnover he had. Only a 56% completion percentage, but he still had a 155 rating and 176 yards with 3 touchdowns. We saw him get a little more active on the ground, 16 yards, but the big story was Tolliver once again coming out and dominating for the Spartans. 2 touchdowns, 84 yards. He averaged 5.3 yards a carry. Now, one thing that we do know about this Michigan State Spartans team is the defense struggles. However, before we get into the defense, this is a 100% running back by committee program. That is the program that Ryan Sandman has wanted to implement from the start. Smash mouth football, as Brandon Tullis, the elusive bruiser out of Dallas, Texas, also had 84 yards on the ground. And then his counterpart, Mekhi Frazier, sophomore out of Texas, he had 51 yards on the ground. Michigan State really moving the ball well. The offensive line playing really well. And so is the defensive line. The defensive line for Michigan State playing very, very well. It's just the secondary that is struggling. We've had great games from guys like Jordan Hall. He had 3 tackles for loss, including a sack. Then you have Nikai Martinez. He had 2 tackles for loss and a sack. He's the strong safety out of Apopka, Florida. We've said that quite a bit. Big guy, senior, 5'11", 194 pounds. He's great at pretty much everything. He's a hybrid style player. Now, on the flip side, for Boston College, yes, they lost, but there were some definite upsides. And one of those being Grayson James, senior out of Duncanville, Texas, had a fantastic game against this Michigan State defense. 83% completion. That's 203 yards, a touchdown, and he did not turn the ball over. He also had a couple solid scrambling attempts, but negated by a few sacks that he endured during this game. He actually did have 1 touchdown on the ground. He was the bright spot. He was the creator for the Eagles, if you will. And as Michigan State comes into week 2 against an FCS school, they don't want to take it too lightly. Everybody remembers Appalachian State in Michigan back in 2007.
The field goal. It'll be Jason Gingell out of the hold of Mesco. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is blocked. Appalachian State has stunned the college football world. One of the greatest upsets in sports history.
Despite it being an FCS school in Michigan State looking halfway decent to this point this year, don't get too far ahead of yourselves and think that this is just going to be a walk in the park, ladies and gentlemen. We need to make sure that we buckle down, stick to our game plan, keep our players healthy, keep them rotated in and out, keep them fresh. And that's going to be the goal going into this game against the FCS East. It's going to be a Saturday night, 7:30 game in East Lansing. Get your couches ready, ladies and gentlemen, as East Lansing's looking to go 3-0.
Welcome to the banks of the Red Cedar, where there's a school that's known to all. Its specialty is winning. Boy, do they hope the Spartans play good ball. East Lansing ready for this showdown in homestanding Michigan State. What an exciting matchup we have in store for you this afternoon, built around the pageantry, tradition, and everything that makes college football great. As we'll see, the Judicials taking on a team from the Big Ten, the Michigan State Spartans. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack, Jesse Palmer alongside. Guys, we can't wait to see this game. Been looking forward to it all week.
It's time to go here in East Lansing. East Lansing, the Michigan State Spartans, looking to go 3-0 against their FCS opponent. And not much of a return to write home about for the FCS East. Take a look at this FCS squad. They got to dictate the tempo if they want to have any chance at working with Michigan State, staying in this game. They've got to play on their own accord, and that can be tough against a Michigan State defensive line that has been absolutely dominating thus far in their 2-0 run. Pass game not been, the pass defense not been the greatest for the Spartans. However, there's always room for improvement as the season goes along. The players often tend to improve. First play from the line of scrimmage is only a gain of 1. They're going to run it right back up the middle in a solid gain this time for the FCS school. They are 3rd and 3. Dorial O'Neal, the running back for the FCS East squad. He is their star player. You will probably see him with the ball a good bit, and it's going to be an option, and an option that picks him up a first down. Nice play from the quarterback there in a fantastic read. That is exactly what we meant when we said they've got to dictate the tempo. If they want a chance today, that's how they've got to do it. Going from the pistol, looks like it's going to be another option play. Michigan State's going to get used to that very quickly. Loss of 2. Looks like we're going to see more flex bone from FCS East as they come out under center. And he's looking to scramble. That's the quarterback again. Going to gain about 1 that time. Interesting play call there on 2nd and long. We'll see what they dial up for 3rd and long. Spartan defense looking to get off the field here as they have already allowed 1 first down. Pointing out the Mike linebacker. Dropping back to throw, looking for somebody. It is not going to find anybody, throws it away. And it's going to be 4th down. Looks like Devin Skies may have been the intended wide receiver for FCS East. And the punt from Mick Foles, not related to Nick Foles. And looks like Michigan State's just going to fall on that, and then there's going to be an injury. That's Dontavius Nash clutching his left knee. We'll be back to take a look at him. All right, with a little bit of assistance off to the sideline, Dontavius Nash looks like he may be okay. Looks like Michigan State's going to start from the gun, and they're going to start with who else? Elijah Tolliver, the absolute workhorse for the Spartans. As we're getting word now that Dontavius Nash will have the option to return to the game if he so chooses. Aiden Childs had a great week last week, only turning the ball over once. First turnover for a season. Broken tackles for Tolliver. That man is a monster. This year he is closing in on 200 yards rushing. Already has 4 rushing touchdowns. Big, strong running back. Michigan State loves what he's been able to do as they're going to hand it right back off to him. Gain of 5. He's already at 23 yards. Curious to see today with the weather just how often Michigan State's going to want to go through the air. As Aiden Childs lines up under center. Looks like it's going to be another handoff to Tolliver and another solid gain for him. And that is 1st down Michigan State. Big run as Brandon Tullis checks into the game. Ryan Sandman stated before the game that it was wholeheartedly the plan to go with the running back by committee as they did last week. Tolliver still nursing a little bit of that ankle injury, but still planning on getting a majority of the snaps. He is a tough kid. Gonna hand it off to him, gonna get a block. He's got a block upfield, that's McCray. Or excuse me, that's Omari Kelly. Up the field, number 1, a guy who a week ago had 2 touchdowns on just 2 receptions. His only 2 receptions on the year resulted in 2 touchdowns. And it's looking like Michigan State might not even try to pass the ball on this drive. They just want to get a little comfortable lead here. Tolliver looking to push in. gains about 8, and he's going to be 2 yards away from the goal. The big thing here is Michigan State can still pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. 2nd and 2, Aiden Childs under center. And a walk-in touchdown for Tolliver, and that's a touchdown for your Spartans. PAT was no problem for Michigan State as Brock Ladler, the FCS East quarterback, steps back out onto the field and hit behind the line once again. That is, I do believe, Dunnigan on the hit there. And an interesting play choice here for FCS East. They're going to go goal line. Not a single wide receiver on the field, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what they've got drawn up here. And oh, big gain. FCS East going to pick up a first down and then some. That's Dorian O'Neal, 4 carries, 24 yards, and a Michigan State defensive line that thus far has been absolutely fantastic in the first 2 games of the season. Looking a little tired in this 3rd game. That's another handoff to O'Neal. He's going to pick up another 8 yards. And I think Michigan State might need to be thinking about some quick adjustments on the fly if they don't want to get ran all over on today's game. Going back to the flex bone, hand off to the fullback, who's going to pick up the first down. The 3rd first down of the first quarter for FCS East. Crowd a little quiet as it is a wet and dreary day in East Lansing. It has been all day. That's a pitch to O'Neal, and he's going to lose 2 yards. It seems like it's either a gain of 8 or a loss of 2. That's pretty much what we've been seeing so far, as they are in a very funky formation. They move O'Neal out. That's going to be Ladler. He's going to pitch it over to O'Neal, who's looking for the first down. He's going to pick up 10. It's going to be 2nd and short. And now an interesting play call for FCS East. Going up against a school that many predicted they would stand absolutely no chance to. If they don't get it here, and it's not going to matter because it's going to be the end of the first quarter. The Judicials down 7-0. Take a look at the running back numbers. Dorian O'Neal, Elijah Tolliver, stout running backs for both of their teams, and we're back for the 2nd quarter here in East Lansing. Hopefully you have your couches ready, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to see a couple burning following this game. And it's going to be another goal line formation. Well, an I formation. Handoff up the middle to O'Neal. He's going to break a tackle, gain about 1, and it's going to be 4th and 1. We believe the proper call would be to go for it. However, the Judicials, they're going to be happy with punting. If it were me, I think I'd go for it. You're going up against a team, oh goodness, and that is a whale of a punt. If it were me, I think we would have probably went for it there. You're going up against a school that everybody's predicting them to win, predicting them to blow you out. The best way to step on their necks is to give them something that they're not expecting. And that needs to be the mindset going forward for the Judicials and the Michigan State Spartans, trying to limit those mistakes, as that's going to be a pass out left. That's going to be Omari Kelly. He didn't break a tackle, but he did juke 2 guys. His 3rd reception on the year, the first reception that doesn't result in a touchdown for the young speedster. 36 yards in a heck of a play on the first throwing attempt from Aiden Childs. Maybe left that one in the air just a little too long. Here's Tolliver. He's going to go. That's his 2nd touchdown. Touchdown, MSU. Okay, here's Brock Ladler back out for another drive. Running game seems to sort of be working. There's another loss of 2. Like we said before, it's either a loss of 2 or a gain of 8. It seems like waiting for the gain of 8 this time. It's going to be Ladler pitching it off. He's going to get more than 8. Here goes O'Neal. He's going to pick up a first down in a really big game. 10 rushing attempts for Dorial O'Neal. And this Michigan State defense acts like they've never seen this before. They didn't practice all week, it feels like, as they are allowing an FCS school to run all over them, and there's going to be another loss of 2. What else? That's Dunnigan on the tackle, number 99, big 99. You're going to hear his name quite a bit. Dunnigan on the field trying to rotate players in and out to keep everybody healthy. And another loss. This time it's going to be 4 yards. It's going to be 3rd and very long for Brock Ladler and the FCS East team. Can they pick this 3rd down up? Moa back on the field. Dunnigan back to the sidelines. Ladler looking to throw, looking to scramble. He's taking off. He's going to slide down and avoid the hit. And it's going to be a punt. That's the 6th rushing attempt from Ladler so far. Only 3 yards. Reminding you that sacks and anything of that nature, in another very poor punt for FCS East. It's going to be picked up anyways. Omari Kelly, maybe not the best decision he could have ever made, but maybe it's not going to matter. He's looking to break one off to the right side, breaking a couple tackles, but it's not going to matter anyways. He's going to get brought down. It is going to be a solid gain. He ran quite a few yards on a very, very poor punt. He had a chance, and Aiden Childs and Tulliver back out now. There goes Tulliver. Green grass in front of him. He's got 10 carries, already 106 yards, and we are at the halfway point now in the second quarter. Yikes. Looking like it could be an easy victory for the Michigan State Spartans, as those of us who may have predicted that to happen this week. Already 2 touchdowns in the first half for Tulliver. Maybe looking to go for a Michigan State record today, as they truly love him here in East Lansing. Another big gain for him. He's going to gain about 12. And Michigan State looking to go up by 21 before halftime. FCS East looking to just find a way to get into the red zone for the first time in this game. That'd be a big opportunity for them to at least put up some points on this tough Big Ten team. Let's see what Michigan State has to offer. Doesn't look like anybody open. And Childs just going to go ahead and throw that one away. Dangerous opportunity if he would have tried to let one loose there. Only the 2nd passing attempt from Childs so far. Hasn't had too many opportunities, as Tulliver has really hogged a majority of the snaps for the Spartans offense. 2nd and goal from the 10. Childs dropping back to pass. Looking for Velling. That ball is up and in the air and swatted down. And it's going to be 3rd down. Not the greatest looking pass in the world by Aiden Childs, but it doesn't matter. It does matter, but it doesn't. Childs dropping back to throw. Looking for Velling again, and touchdown, MSU. It's been a scoring outburst in the first half for the Michigan State Spartans, as the FCS school has had no response for anything the Spartans are doing on offense, and a loss of 2 yards. Brock Ladler, you think he would get the message? Maybe time to stop running the option play and go through the air. Michigan State defense has shown weaknesses through the air this year, but it seems like FCS East has no intention of throwing the ball with only one passing attempt as we near the 2-minute mark here in the second quarter. FCS East looking to run it again, and they're just going to gain 3 yards and punt the ball. As we go to the 2-minute warning, interesting play calling decisions so far for FCS East, and Amari Kelly will be back to return. He is on fire following that most recent return. And oh, take a look at this. Not sure exactly where they got that punter from, but he probably shouldn't be the punter. And 1 minute and 54 seconds remaining. Now, rumor has it that Nick Marsh has expressed a little bit of frustration in the Michigan State locker room throughout the week with his lack of performance, lack of production, lack of ability, you name it. He's not been involved in the game plan as much as Michigan State or Nick Marsh would like to see. But that's partially on Nick Marsh as Childs looks to run up the middle. First down for Michigan State. I think they're looking to just drain away some of this clock as they near the 1-minute mark. Marsh is on the field. Tulliver not seen the ball yet so far on this drive. And that is Nick Marsh with an opportunity to catch one, and he drops it. So exactly what we were just talking about. Nick Marsh making mistakes would indicate lack of performance. Therefore, might be part of the reason why he's frustrated is his own performance. You can't fault anybody else, and that's going to be a timeout for FCS East, as they're going to call a timeout on 3rd down. Now all of a sudden they make a solid decision, but it almost feels like it might be too late. Childs under center, and that's a throw. Nick Marsh with the reception and another timeout for FCS East. They're going to be on the 1-yard line. Not exactly sure why Childs didn't try, or excuse me, why Nick Marsh didn't try to push that one in there. He had all the opportunity in the world, and Michigan State walks into the end zone. That's touchdown, MSU. Michigan State back out on defense. Let's talk about Tulliver for a second. That is his 3rd touchdown of the first half. The Michigan State record is held by none other than Kenneth Walker and Blake Ezor for 5 single-game rushing touchdowns. Mr. Kenneth Walker did it in 2021 against Michigan. Blake Ezor, 1989. I do believe it said it was against Nebraska. That is pretty big. Tulliver looking to break that record today. Final play before halftime. And they're just going to run it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like FCS East has already started the buses and ready to go home. Take a look at these numbers. Elijah Tulliver thus far, 14 carries, 133 yards. 3 touchdowns. You wonder if he'll even get the opportunity to score 5 touchdowns or more in this game, being that it is already 28-0. Give an opportunity for the starters to rest. Probably could pull them now. Michigan State doesn't seem like they're going to. They want to get their guys playing time and experience. It's been a good game so far if you're a Michigan State fan. If you are a Judicials fan, oh boy, might as well turn your TV off. And here's the kickoff. Nick Marsh on the return. Nick Marsh just standing there. What was going on there? God, what is going on through that young man's head? Such a promising freshman year and such a worrisome going forward. Nice run. Tulliver gonna gain at least 11 to 12 yards, as he is nearing 150 yards on the ground already, as Aiden Childs has virtually had to do nothing. Another 6-yard gain for Tolliver. That's 150 yards for him. Gotta imagine he may see some time on the bench for this second half, allowing some of the other guys to get an opportunity. As scrambling out is Aiden Childs, and a pass over to Jack Velling to pick up a first down. He was big in last week's performance. 5 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. We talked about him potentially being the best tight end in the Big Ten. Well, if he plays like that, there is no doubt that he is the best tight end in the Big Ten. A lot of other names, though. You've got Max Clare over at Ohio State. He's a pretty solid guy, transfer. Big names. Under center, looking to pass. And Childs looking to just run again, doing a little more running today than he normally does. That is 2 attempts for 18 yards. Want to try to keep him healthy, so don't know how much more of that we're going to see, as this game is already looking like it might be out of hand. FCS East, they knew that they were coming in to have a tough matchup, but it just kind of feels like they're not even trying. Just running the football. And that's a toss in the air. That's McCray. Overthrown. Aiden Childs. Man, he's got one heck of a strong arm. And we've seen him make that throw a couple times this year. But in that instance, unable to do so. It's going to be 3rd and 7 for the Spartans. And that's pressure off the edge for FCS. That's Aldrich Culpepper. Not related to Dante Culpepper, but a sack for FCS East. And a little momentum as Eckley comes on to punt. Kick is in the air. Doesn't look like they're going to try to return it. Michigan State going to try to get there to down them, and they're not going to do so. It's going to be a touchback. Bring the ball out to the 20. Brock Ladler, as Mo Bamba plays on the speakers in the stadium. Oh, interesting play there. Ladler gained 7. Not exactly sure what happened. Can't say I've ever seen that before. But a good play for the Judicials. 2nd and 3. Ladler looking to hand it off to his fullback. He's going to lose 1. Put that seatbelt on. That's lockdown defense. You aren't going nowhere. Fake toss. Ladler looking to throw. Only the second attempt. Who else is going to catch it? That's O'Neal. In a solid gain. Gets them to their side of the field, or the Michigan State side of the field. And now all of a sudden, look out. The Judicials might have an opportunity to score here as they stand on the 48-yard line, sticking in the flex bone. Couple wide receivers out wide. They've got a man in motion. That's O'Neal. Looking to pass. That's only the 3rd pass of the game. Wonder if they picked this offense up from Air Force. Kind of seems like it. Very heavy run offense. 2nd and 7. That's exactly what they're going to do on 2nd and 7. And who else? Once again, O'Neal shoving guys off of him. Huge first down. Dorial O'Neal, 65 yards on the ground. And it seems like Michigan State just didn't focus on the run defense this week, as there is no excuse as to why that kid is running all over MSU the way that he is. Brock Ladler looking to scramble. Continues going backwards, and a sack made for a loss of 11. That's Nakai Martinez on the tackle. One of the initiators, probably gains himself a half sack there. See the look on Brock Ladler's face. Definitely not having a great time. You're losing 28-0. 3rd quarter's nearing an end. It's rainy. You're on the road. The crowd is loud. Hand off to O'Neal. Solid gain of 5 there. It's going to be 3rd and long. 70 yards rushing for O'Neal. Promising young ball player going up against this Big Ten team. And I just broke a rule where I'm not supposed to use the line, or the linebackers. I need to stick on the defensive line, and I failed to do so. And they're going to punt down 28-0 in field goal range for most teams. And that's Omari Kelly. He's going to pick up the ball and run it out of bounds. The weak punt that time actually worked out in the favor of the Judicials, as it's 28-0. An interesting choice to punt it away there. Only a 2-yard gain from Tolliver on first down. 2nd and 8. A minute remaining in the third quarter. We'll see what Michigan State has for them on this drive, and a drop ball from Tolliver. Interesting, maybe the rain playing a little bit of a factor. Only 5 for 10 today is Childs. Not a lot of opportunities, but he also is dealing with the weather. 2 of the 3 games played this year have been weather related, and that's Jack Velling. Who else? First down, Michigan State. Big throw there from Aiden Childs, as he's going to line up under center. It's going to be 30 seconds now remaining. Oh, big run! Tolliver, big pickup, 20th carry of the game. Looks like he's slowing down just a little bit, so maybe Michigan State needs to look at pulling him, as hopefully he's not going to re-aggravate that ankle injury against a team that it seems like this game might just be over, as we're going to go to the fourth quarter now, and we'll be back. Pure domination so far from Michigan State, mostly on the ground, as that's a run up the middle for Tolliver. Is that going to put him over 200 yards rushing? That's a big question. He's nearing that number. Has yet to get another touchdown. He's at 198 yards rushing. Another decent carry, and Tolliver will be over the century mark for the second time in this game, and that's exactly what he's going to get. He had one man to beat, pick up a 7. Michigan State continuing with their starters, maybe just for this final drive before you see the backups come in. 2nd and 3. Looking to throw out wide. Velling, the target there, swatted down. Man, you know, a game manager Aiden Childs has been. The numbers not exactly what you want to see from the young man. There's still so much potential. Tolliver up the middle. Big gain, going to get him down to the 8-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal for Michigan State. He's at 218 yards rushing as Tullis checks into the game. Might be the last we see of Tolliver, and it just might be, as that is a touchdown, Michigan State. And most of the backups for the Michigan State defense are in the game. FCS East will keep their starters in the game, as Brock Ladler, looking to run right up the middle, is going to pick up the 2 yards this time. 2nd and 8. This flexbone offense has not worked against this Michigan State defense in some cases. However, Michigan State may have exposed some weaknesses. Oh, look at that one from Ladler there. Michigan State's weaknesses may be exposed with the outside run and some of the option play calls that FCS has used today. Ladler under center, as he has been for much of the game. Looks to fake pitch, runs out right, looking to throw, completed pass. Hasn't had too many attempts, and I take that back. That's not Ladler anymore. He's been replaced. We'll find out the name of that quarterback here in just a minute. I believe it's Millard, as there's a run up the middle. Cooper York, 5 attempts, 3 yards. Not a whole lot going on for him. FCS East just looking to gain a little bit of momentum, at least with a field goal. Millard looking to run out to the outside. Gonna pick up about 2. And it's gonna be a 3rd down. You gotta think that FCS, as usual, will probably punt in this situation if they don't get it. That's a toss out to the right side. That's York again in a loss of 1, and Michigan State will get the ball back. And for some reason, the Michigan State Spartans still have Aiden Childs out on the field. Probably not the best decision in the world. Same with Tulliver, as Tullis checks in following his touchdown last time out. Maybe Coach Sandman looked at Childs and said, hey man, go finish this one out. You haven't played the greatest. You're lucky for your offensive line. And your running back by committee has played absolutely fantastic. As Childs looking to throw it deep down the left side. Touchdown! Krishan McCray caught that ball. Wow. Huge touchdown for Krishan McCray. And Childs heard us talking about him, didn't like it, and said, let me change your thoughts. This is the highest scoring game so far for the Spartans, as they look to kick the PAT through the big raindrops, no problem. And with 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining, you gotta imagine now that Aiden Childs and the rest of that offense will probably take a seat on the bench. As Eckley kicks it off, it's going to be returned by the Judicials. And not a great return, only up to the 18-yard line. Milliard back out. There's Van Summeren on the right side. Van Summeren misses a tackle there. And on the right side, decent gain from another one of their star running backs, Jarvis May. Only his 2nd rushing attempt. He's been on the field quite a bit. You see him over there on the right side of your screen. Lined up behind the tight end, looking to pass. It's not going to matter. He's going to get sacked. That's a great sack from the Michigan State defense. Haven't sent a lot of pressure once again. That's Jalen Thompson, edge rusher. Dunnigan into the game again. Nash, Stowe, Grady Kelly dropping back to pass. Kelly can't quite get there. And it's going to be a 4th down with 2.5 minutes remaining. Matthew Millard completing his 2nd passing attempt of the game. And Mick Foles, the McDonald's version of Nick Foles, is going to have one of the worst punts I have seen in my entire life, ladies and gentlemen. I do not understand how he is a punter, but that's okay. And hey, look who it is. It's Aiden Childs once again coming out. Maybe a little bit of a punishment, as Tullis gonna lose a yard or 2 there. As we hit the 2-minute warning, Tullis still in the game. Michigan State looking to salt this one away, 42-0. A huge victory, about what we expected for the Spartans, as Michigan State looks forward to next week when they take on the Trojans. They got to go away from home for the first time this year and fly out to the Coliseum. And another small gain. We'll see what Michigan State looks to do here. They could punt it. They could go for it. They're just going to go for it. They don't care at this point. It's 1 minute remaining. 4th and 7. Once again, Nick Marsh not been involved. Going to get involved there. Maybe make him a little happier going into week 4 against USC. They're going to need him. It's going to be a very tough matchup. The first Big Ten matchup coming up next week for the Spartans. And we look forward to it. Tulliver, been an absolute monster. One of the best running backs in the entire Big Ten so far this year. And he's got some good guys behind him. Brandon Tullis, just one of those guys. As the clock expires, Michigan State wins. It is a 42-0 victory, and you can see Ryan Sandman celebrating. 42-0. Take a look at the Elijah Tulliver stats. 25 carries, 220 yards. receives congratulations all around. We thought for a minute he might break a record today. Maybe later on in the year. He only had 3 touchdowns, all 3 of those coming in the first half of this ball game, as Michigan State stands in unity at the student section. Looking up, take a look at the numbers. Pure domination, 132 yards of offense for the Judicials, 400 almost for Michigan State. It was a rainy and bleak game, 254 yards on the ground for them. They were 5 for 7 on third downs, 3 for 11 on the other side of the ball. Take a look at Aiden Childs' numbers, not terrible. 2 touchdowns, 8 for 14. The point that I want to highlight is that completion percentage, 57%. He sits south of 60 on the year. Not a good look. Not a good look, ladies and gentlemen, not at all. Take a look at Tolliver, 25 carries, 220 yards. Tullis had himself a touchdown this week. Tolliver is a beast, and we know it. The senior out of Sparks, Nevada, really put on a performance. Velling had a touchdown. Sean McCray had a 46-yard reception with a touchdown. That's a big one. Nick Marsh finally got involved. He had 2 receptions, no touchdowns. Amari Kelly, 1 reception. Just seems like Michigan State not really looking to throw the ball all that often, and that's okay. Take a look at the side of the ball for FCS East. Oh boy, only a total of 6 passing attempts. And you know what? They were pretty decent. Goes to show that maybe that should have been the game plan all along. Brock Ladler, Matthew Millard. Not too bad at quarterbacks, a junior and a sophomore. But the highlight was Dorial O'Neal. He was the big man. He had 70 yards on the ground. Didn't see him as much in the second half. They often went to Mr. Cooper York out of Avon, Ohio. He had 1 yard on 6 attempts. Rough game for him. Take a look at the receiving numbers. 2 receptions. Who else? Dorial O'Neal. My goodness. Give this guy the Heisman already. He is playing fantastic for the Judicials. Say that 5 times fast. Finn Moore, freshman out of Boone, North Carolina. He had a reception for 18 yards. But a good game, all in all, for the Spartans. They'll take this win, and they'll move on down the road to face the USC Trojans. Okay, let's take a look at some of our recruits, what our recruiting situation is going into week 4 of the season. Unfortunately, we're going to lose Terrell Tabor to Ohio State. He's going to probably commit this week. That sucks. It is what it is. So we're going to lose him. We're going to have to try to find a different quarterback. I don't recall there being anyone else interested. And this is where the transfer portal becomes very important for us. However, on the plus side of things, we did schedule 3 visits this week. So we scheduled a visit with Marvin Missy. We are neck and neck with Auburn. Week 5 visit. He's going to also be visiting, and that's during a bye week, just because I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose during their visit and them decide to go elsewhere. We've also got Sean Etheridge competing with Indiana here. He too is coming on week 5. And we've got Mr. Mike Cook, an edge rusher, week 5 as well. We're competing with a couple schools here. Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, even Louisville. Not too far behind there. So that's kind of what we're looking like as far as the recruiting situation goes. We do have 5 recruiting hours. Maybe we'll go ahead and throw a scholarship on somebody really quick. But first, let's go take a look at the quarterback situation. Is there any other quarterbacks that are interested in Michigan State? Yes. A 2-star. Damn it. So, actually looks like 2 stars. Larian Steed and Elijah Gatto. So we're gonna go after those 2 guys. We'll keep Tabor on there just for now, just in case something happens with Ohio State. He's the guy that we really want. If not, then we're looking at the transfer portal, and obviously nobody there. Take a look at our school. Really got to get up the coaching stability. Yikes. But you know what? I'm a first-year head coach. That's kind of to be expected. Okay, let's take a quick look at some of the guys. Let me go ahead and turn my camera off real quick here. That way you can see their abilities. Some of the guys that we're going to be going up against next week against USC. On the road, might I add, Jaden Maiva, out of Hawaii, 86 overall quarterback. Running back, Eli Sanders, 87 overall. Wayman Jordan, senior, junior. Brian Jackson. The receiving core is nasty. Makai Lemon. Jacoby Lane, 290 plus overall wide receivers. And it kind of softens up a little bit down the line. Tight end, Lake McCree. He's an 88 overall technically. Offensive line, not bad. Not great. So some opportunities maybe there to get a couple good blitzes in and try to bring down the quarterback. Defensive line, not the best. So good opportunity to potentially run against this team. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I was thinking about the running game a little bit. Linebacking core. We don't have any Sam linebackers. Kind of weak. Talk about Eric Gentry here, senior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 84 overall. He's going to be kind of the main guy for them. Good speed, 87 speed. Be seeing him quite a bit. Then you've got DJ Harvey. Good cornerback class here. Big guy, senior out of Palmdale, California. Quite a few physical traits there. No mental traits, but he's going to be a tough one. Probably going to be matched up with Krishan McCray. D. Carlos Nicholson. Interesting name, D. Carlos. Marcellus Williams. Bottom line, Nick Marsh is going to have to step up. And because if Harvey is all over McCray, there's no shot. No shot. Free safety, Kamari Ramsey, 88 overall. And strong safety, Bishop Fitzgerald, senior, 79 overall. And their kicker, 76, Caden Chittenden? Maybe, out of Vegas. So, overall thoughts, solid secondary, clearly. But the box could be a little weak. The linebackers, the defensive line, we might have a really good opportunity to throw short and run often, as we often do in these games. We'll turn my camera back on here. We know what to expect. We're 3-0. A solid week. We'll go ahead and advance real quick, see if we lose anybody. Tabor's going to probably commit. Kind of what we can expect here. And he does. The potential next Ohio State quarterback. Take a look at our transfer situation. Not good, but we're 3-0. It's a better start than we had last year. 3 more games, 3 more wins, and we find ourselves in bowl contention. No ranking. USC is ranked. So a win here means that we could potentially be ranked. I doubt it, but there's a chance if we beat a ranked team. Let's take a look at the top 25. Texas still undefeated. Penn State, of course. Let's see if we can find ourselves a loss. We already knew Ohio State lost to Texas. LSU lost to Florida. Number 3 Florida picking up a big W against the guys in Death Valley. LSU going to look to bounce back this week against FCS Southeast. Georgia lost. Okay. A couple years ago, that would be very scary, but considering that it's a 12-team playoff now, maybe not so much. That looks like it was against unranked Tennessee. That's exactly who that was. Unranked Tennessee, 38-35, close game in Tennessee. Michigan is 2-1. I believe they probably lost to Oklahoma, ranked 18th. That's my team per the hat on my head. And Texas A&M loses to Notre Dame. Ole Miss loses to Arkansas, drops to 25th. They're 2-1. So a little bit of shakeup. Nothing too much in the top well, Florida moved up pretty big, but number 1 and number 2 stay the same. Man, we got to play Penn State later on this year, and they're receiving 25 first place votes. Florida's receiving 1. That's going to be a tough game, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a tough game for sure. Any stories? Take a look at the Heisman early season watch. Quintravion Wisner and Arch Manning for Texas lead that. Tennessee's quarterback, Joey Aguilar, at least I believe that's Tennessee's quarterback. We'll go take a look at the Heisman watch real quick. And let me know, and it is, let me know if you like this, how we go over the stuff after the game. Gives you an opportunity to continue watching or click off. At this point, Jackson Arnold, really good quarterback for Auburn. 84 overall, he's on there. Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting one, Joey Aguilar. We already kind of figured Arch Manning would probably be on there. One of the best quarterbacks in college football, even though this is his first year starting. Conference standings, where do we rank? So it looks like Oregon and USC have both played conference games and have both won. Purdue and Northwestern have as well and lost. We sit 3-0 as far as the conference goes, or as far as our record goes. Still a good few undefeated teams. Indiana, Illinois, Penn State, USC, all in the top 25, all undefeated still. USC, of course, with that conference win, has them on top of the conference, along with Oregon. So if the season ended today, and you know they love to say it, if the season ended today, your matchup for the Big Ten Championship would be USC and Oregon. Be an interesting one for sure. Miller Moss obviously gone. He went to Louisville. Some really big stuff. Ohio State retains the 8th spot in the top 25 despite the number 1 loss in week 1 against Texas. And what a game that is, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be a really good game in real life too. Be real interesting to see if Ohio State can put their money where their mouth is and show up following their national championship. And of course, Michigan sits 2-1 with a loss to Oklahoma. But anyways, guys, my name is Sandman. And if you didn't know, you're actually on my second channel. This is not my main channel. On my other channel, I do a lot of different stuff, nothing sports related, but sports are a huge passion of mine. Thanks for sticking around if you stuck around to this point in the video. If not, then, well, thank you anyway. But that's going to be it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week for the Trojans.